So I made a video about some hidden issues in Matrix, and this is part 2. This is the follow-up to that video. In that video, I pointed out several issues that were happening within our database tree, and I homed in on one specific one, which was this redundancy thing, this thing that occurs when you have the same item appearing in more than one place within the tree. Okay, that's redundancy. And the specific example that I used to illustrate this was secondary suites. Okay, so what the takeaway, however, was for a lot of people is that I made a video about secondary suites, about basement suites, but I really didn't. It wasn't about that so much as it was about this issue of redundancy. Secondary suites was just the example that I used. So the purpose of this video is to dig deeper into this redundancy issue and show you where else it's occurring within our database tree. So let's start with this. Our MLS database is set up as a hierarchical database. It's a giant tree structure, and the root of that tree is right here. It's the property type. So far, so good. But when we move down into the second level of the tree, the property subtype, now the problems begin. Here we have an apartment, and here we have apartment under architectural style. That's redundancy. Okay, you get this sort of thing happening. Is it a townhouse or an apartment? I don't know. So that's an example. Let's dig deeper here. We've gone into the levels field, and we have single level unit. And under architectural style, we also have single level unit, multi-level unit, multi-level unit. So both of those are there in both fields. That's redundancy. That results in this sort of ridiculous nonsense. Okay, it can't be both single level and multi-level unit. It's one or the other, but yet we're able to say that it's both at the same time. And it's happening a lot. Okay, this is a problem. When I see this sort of thing, what comes to my mind is a saying that my dad used to have. He said, given a choice, a cow will always go through the wrong gate. What he meant by that is if you've got some cattle in a pen and you want to get them into another pen, you open up a gate, one gate, and the cattle will go through. However, if you open up more than one gate, they're going to scatter everywhere and you're going to have a mess. So let's take a closer look at that. Here's our input tool for inputting a listing. We're putting in an apartment, and it's a single level unit. The problem is we've got two different places that we can say that. We can define it as a single level unit in two different places. We have an option. We can pick one or the other. Too many gates are open, which gives us the option. We don't have to put the same thing in both of these fields. We can put different things in these fields as we have seen. Now, what comes to my mind as the obvious solution to this problem is simply to take one of these items and delete it and get it out of there. Okay? Now, instead of having the same item in two places in the tree, we've deleted one of them. It's only in one place. Redundancy has been removed. Okay? And now we have only one gate open. That's the obvious solution. However, instead of doing that, we could try something else. We could take one of these items here and change the name. See that? I'm going to change the name of it. Okay. Maybe that'll help. Maybe that will make it better. And maybe not. Okay. Moving on. So let's take a closer look at the structure type field. Still working with apartments here. We've got high rise and high rise, low rise, low rise. Okay. There's redundancy between those two fields. And that results in this kind of nonsense here. It can't be both low rise and high rise at the same time, but yet we've got a lot of these listings that are doing this. Okay. Now the question is, what do you think the public thinks when they see this sort of thing on our listings? What sort of impression does that give the public about our level of professionalism as an industry? It's not a good one. Okay. Let's take a look now at property. We'll go back to property subtype and we'll go under row house, townhouse. Here it is under structure type and architectural style. My goodness, we got triple redundancy right there. Now if we look under detached and under levels, we got 1.5, architectural style 1.5. Redundancy, 2-story, 2-story, redundancy, 4-level split, 4-level split, redundancy. Okay, I'll just skip to the end and say everything that's in the levels field, absolutely everything that's in the levels field is also under architectural style. We have complete overlap between these two fields, complete redundancy between them. And it's not just the levels field, it's all these other fields as well that have some redundancy with the architectural style field. So at this point, you may have noticed that the big culprit in all of this redundancy is this one field, architectural style. At this point, I want to introduce a term, an Old English slang expression, a dog's breakfast. Some of you younger folks might not have ever heard of this, okay, but it really does apply to this field. So what I would suggest is we could change the name of the field to this. Or maybe not, just kidding. Okay, let's take a closer look at this. So with the levels and architectural style, with the overlap between them, we're getting all this sort of nonsense happening here. Is it a 2-story or a bi-level? There it is again. 3-level split or 4-level split? Let's flip it the other way. 4-level split or 3-level split? 3 or more, 3-level split? Is there a difference between a 3-level split and a 3-story? 4-level split, 2-story split? 1.5, 2-story, bi-level bungalow? Can't be both a bi-level and a bungalow. Can you tell which one it is by looking at the picture? It's obviously one and not the other, but the listing says it's both. This just goes on and on. There's so much of this. This is what happens when too many gates are open. Let's just say we're going to list a house and it's a bi-level. In order to define it as a bi-level, I've got 2 options to do that. I should only have 1, but there's 2 here. Okay, too many gates are open. That gives us too many options for how to list it. So there are in fact 3 different ways we can list it. We can use under the levels field, we can go bi-level, architectural style is also bi-level. Currently in the last year there have been 765 bi-levels listed that way. Okay, we could do it another way. We could put 1 under the levels field and bi-level under architectural style. 173 were listed that way. And the third way is we can go with bi-level under levels and put something other than bi-level under architectural style. And there's 41 of them that were listed that way. Now ironically, this last one here that's being used the least is the one that actually most closely conforms to Pillar 9's guidelines for what these 2 fields are supposed to be used for. Okay, levels is tied to RMS. Fine, that makes sense. Architectural style is a marketing field intended to allow the member to further describe, and those are the key words, further describe the property as best they see fit. Well, doing it this way, which is the most common way, is actually not further describing anything at all. It's just, they're just repeating yourself, saying exactly the same thing twice. That's not further describing. This last one is the one that most closely conforms to that. The architectural style, when it was meant to be something like, architecture, mid-century modern or contemporary or something like that, to further describe the property. But of course nobody's using it that way. Those are the 3 options for how to list a property, and if we add them all up, there's 979 bi-levels that were listed in the last year in Calgary. Let's do a search, see if we can find them all. Just like we did in the last video with the basement suites, it's going to be the same result. So let's go through the exercise here. The first option is we're going to put bi-level under levels, put nothing under architectural style. We're going to get 806. That means we're capturing this group, and that one is getting left out. Second option, we're going to put nothing under levels, put bi-level under architectural style. That's going to get 948 hits. That's going to capture this group, and leave that one out. Third option, we're going to put bi-level under levels and bi-level under architectural style. That's a 765, which is going to only capture this first group, leave those 2 out. Fourth option, 1 under levels, bi-level under architectural style. 173 captures this group and leaves those 2 out. And finally, we're going to put bi-level under levels and put something else under architectural style. That's 41 listings, captures that group and leaves those ones out. So as you can see, none of these options will capture all of them. The best option we have is this one here because it captures those 2, but these are going to fall through the cracks and not show up. So what we got here is a dog's breakfast, and it's because of the redundancy between these 2 fields. And it's not just bi-levels. It's 4-level splits and 3-level splits and 1.5 stories and 2 stories. Everything, all of the things that are in the levels field are overlapping with the architectural style field, all causing redundancy. And it's not just the levels field. Architectural style overlaps with all these other fields as well. Here is a list of all the things that are currently in this field. And as you can see, it's a hodgepodge mess. It's like a junk drawer in the kitchen. It's that place where you shove all the crap that you just don't know what else to do with. It's just all sort of thrown in there. Okay, so I think it's safe at this point to characterize this field, this architectural style field, like this. Okay, however, I do believe it could be like this. So let's get out our shovels and dig into it. Alright, so let's begin with all the redundancy between the levels field, okay, all the overlap that's there. All of the items that are in both architectural style and the levels field, let's just take those, and for now let's just delete them. Just get them out of there. Next, let's look at the structure type field, and we'll look at all the things that exist in both fields, and we'll take them out of there as well. Okay, now the property subtype. There's a couple items there. Going to take them out. The basement field. We got walkout down here. Take that out. We have a thing for an acreage yes or no checkbox. That's redundant with this here. We don't need that. Take it out. Let's go back to structure type. There's some changes in the works regarding modular homes and mobile homes and things like that. So all of these things that are here now are going to be either removed or put into structure type. So let's take those out of here as well. Furthermore, when it comes to semi-detached and duplexes, these three items here really do belong under structure type for semi-detached and duplex. So let's, for now, we'll get to that later, but right now let's take these out of here. With apartments, there's the floor location. Okay, you can specify under the floor location field whether it's on the top floor or not. So we don't really need these. Those are redundant. Let's take them out of here. Back to the levels field again. There are a number of things here are kind of already there. So we have 4-story and 5-story, but under the levels field we have 3 or more stories. So they fall under that. So for now, let's just take them out of there. Bungalow with a loft. Well, that's a 1.5 story essentially, so let's take that out. Now we're left with a bunch of fuzzy, subjective architectural stuff that's not really definable, and therefore it has no place in a database field. It actually belongs in remarks. Let's take these things out of here. Now we're left with a bunch of things that are rarely used or not even used at all anymore. Okay, that's all of these here, so let's just take those out. And now we're left with these 3 items. These are actually all 3 very important items that really do apply, and they don't exist anywhere else, so we do need these things. But what exactly should we do with them? So the simple and most straightforward thing to do with these is to take both of these items here and move them into the levels field, okay, and then take the stacked townhouse and move that into the structure type field. That's simple, straightforward, and the most obvious thing. However, I do believe there's actually something even better that we can do with these things and a better way to arrange these fields. So let's get into that in the next video.